Nigeria and Lagos Talks 91.3. And every Thursday like this, we get to engage professionals in the field of human resource management. We get to pick their brains, get to get some insights as to progression, how we can progress, how we can get some more information regarding HR practices and how to be the best version of ourselves as far as our careers are concerned. So that's what the show is all about on a weekly basis from 4:30 up until 5 o'clock. And we get to also push some interesting happenings happening from the CIPM angle from time to time when there are programs that you might want to be a part of. This is where you can get to listen to all of the updates that come to the fore from the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. My name is Kola Wale Falodun, and I have our guest this evening. We'll be speaking about brain drain and the Japa syndrome, and then the role of HR. So our guest this evening is a distinguished leader and a certified senior human resource professional with 2 decades of expertise in organizational change and creating talent management initiatives for organizations operating in diverse industry spaces. She has led human resource functions across various organizations that span through the energy sector, manufacturing. She's done bits with the hospitality industry. She's done bits with logistics and FMCG. She is a respected leadership development advisor. She is passionate about building agile and resilient teams that have a strong sense of opportunity in the face of adversity. She has set up and led HR functions in the manufacturing angle of things, where she built multidisciplinary HR functions that partnered the businesses that she has been a part of. She is capable of executing a lot of things as far as the practice of human resource management is concerned. She is Ogochukwu Egbuonu, MCIPM, and this is going to be our guest for the next few minutes on the program this evening. Madam, good to have you join us this evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good evening.
All right, it's good to have you. How has the week been? Trust the week has
Well,
been.
it's been awesome. It's been beautiful.
All right,
It's been
fantastic.
beautiful.
Fantastic. And how are you? How are you holding up from your end as far as Nigeria is concerned?
uh, anyway, Nigeria is for every one of us. So if you're, as for me, I've actually made up my mind that we are going to stay in Nigeria and make Nigeria become that great nation. There is so much in Nigeria. And so together, I've made up my mind with my family members that we will together build this nation to become a great nation. So I'm holding on.
All right, so that is a mentality that we all want to have going forward. Anyway, today our topic is quite clear, and you spoke about Nigeria, and of course, it brings us to the whole conversation about opportunities outside Nigeria, from the angle or from the perspective of professionals within the country at the moment. So our topic, like I said earlier on, brain drain and the Japa syndrome. We'll take a look at what the HR has got to do in all of this, what role they play in all of this. And this brings us to our first question. What are the main factors driving the brain drain phenomenon? And how is it affecting Nigeria's workforce and economy at the moment?
Sincerely, if you look at the main causes of this brain drain, first of all, let me even establish what this brain drain is all about. It's not a new concept. I know it's just that of recent, it's become a concept, maybe the way the younger ones put it by calling it Japa, you know. So it's just become like a wildfire that caught people's attention. But brain drain had always been there. I recall even while I was in secondary school, My secondary school teachers talked about brain drain, and it was just even as far back as 1970s, 1980s, we had our medical practitioners that were leaving the shores of Nigeria. They were going to the Middle East. You know, they find them going to the Middle East to go practice after they will have become after they will have actually gotten become licensed people to practice here in Nigeria. So it's been a long time thing that started 1970s, 1980s, you know. So you saw medical doctors moving to Saudi Arabia. They were looking at Middle East, looking out for greener pastures. So it's actually not a new thing, but it's just that since post-COVID, Japa has actually become a phenomenon that caught wildfire, especially here in Nigeria. And we know what HR professionals have been grappling with, trying to curtail the issue of the Japa. But as we'll be explaining this evening, let's actually look at what are the causes. You know, we are in Nigeria. There are a lot of things that have actually led to this Japa or brain drain. Number one thing, which we are employment, level in Nigeria is critically so high. The high level of unemployment, even underemployment. You find out graduates we finish from university, they come out 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they've not gotten any gainful employment. And what's causing this unemployment? Nigeria, we don't have enough. Our population is actually very high. We have a very high population, but what we have to cater for the people are not there. In terms of industries, in terms of organizations, we are basically not a producing economy. Our economy is basically a consumption economy. So the high level of unemployment have actually contributed to it. We also have poor education. You know, the educational sector is actually poor. And when we talk about poor, look at the infrastructures of the universities, especially the federal government-owned universities. I mean, the infrastructures you have there cannot compete with what we have today in other developed nations. When you talk about the university structures, you see the incessant strikes that happen in the university. Is it the corruptions that you have in the university system? So the educational sector have actually not helped it, especially in our tertiary institutions. Then we look at the economic reasons. In Nigeria, I mean, the economic reasons are not interesting. The poverty level is so high. Most Nigerians live, in fact, average families in Nigeria live less than $1 per day. If what they have cannot even take them, cannot even cater for a family that is made up of there are about 4 people in the family. The nuclear family can hardly even feed well and live well in Nigeria. The economic reasons, the economic poverty is actually very high in Nigeria. Then we may be looking at issues to do with insecurity. You know, no government tries where there's insecurity. There has been a lot of spikes of insecurity all over Nigeria. Are we talking about the Fulani herdsman own? Are we talking about the militancy in the Niger Delta? These are the insurgency we have in the Northeast, the threats that we have from the IPOB and the rest of it all. All these have contributed to insecurity and had actually made the nation to become very difficult. I mean, people are so insecure to even stay, not to talk of wanting to do things that are reasonable. I think I will stop there for now. Thank you so much.
All right, you're listening to 91.3 Lagos Talks. This is The Office. We're speaking about brain drain and the Japa syndrome. And not just looking at that, we're looking at the HR function or the role of human resource professionals in all of this on The Office this evening. The Office is proudly brought to you by CIPM and Lagos Talks 91.3. My guest is Mrs. Ogochukwu, Egbuonu, MCIPM. All right, so you spoke about the general factors that could predispose individuals towards seeking opportunities outside the country. Let's narrow things down now to the workspace and what the HR professionals at the moment could do to contain this. So can you explain the implications for talent retention? I'm sure you must have worked in organizations where you had to deal with roles getting vacant because the person found an opportunity that was too good to brush aside, and there was nothing you could perhaps do to get the person to remain with the organization. What are the implications of this Japa thing for talent retention and also the stability of an organization. How have you handled real life cases so far over the years?
Okay, okay. Talking about how it's affecting us, how the HR people are grappling with this particular Japa syndrome, you find out that it makes the HR profession and makes even the practice of the HR very difficult because to lose a talent is not an interesting thing. Organizations cannot build stability when they have their talents moving every day. What I mean by moving every day, exiting every now and then. You find out that organizations that have high turnover of talents, they hardly can make any progressive move. They can hardly meet their organizational goal. And how has it affected them? Look at it, for example, the HR process in terms of talent retention. It doesn't just start it's a chain. And the process starts first, you have to attract the talent. You have to develop the talent. You have to motivate the talent before you even talk about retaining the talent. But a situation where you have a talent that comes in and under 3 months or even under 6 months, maximum 2 years, you see that talent. That is the time the talent should have started contributing to the organizational goal. Start building, start performing to do well, to contribute the quota to the upward progress of the organization. You find that particular talent exiting because he has found something better somewhere else outside Nigeria. There's hardly any organization that can make good progress with that particular thing. So you find out that the ultimate goal of any talent is to make what?
Okay, I think we had a glitch right there with the connection. We're trying to reestablish connection with our guest this evening. This is the office on Lagos Talks 91.3. Mrs. Ogochukwu has been our guest. She's our guest this evening, speaking about the Japa syndrome. Perhaps you have questions you want to push across to her. Feel free to let me know your questions, okay? Feel free to let me know. You can push them across on WhatsApp 0809 234 5913. 0809 234 5913. That's for WhatsApp. You can also send your posts to us on X. X is Lagos Talks 913. You can use the hashtag the office 913, the office 913 on X, just in case you want to get the info across to us. So go for a quick break right now, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have reestablished connection with our guest this evening. This is Lagos Talks. You're listening to The Office on 91.3. Okay, I think we can go back. Are we good to go again? Can you hear me? I can't hear. So, hello, madam.
The ones here, so they're trying to for them. She's trying to rectify. The IT person is rectifying it.
Okay, so we could just do video. We could just turn off the video. It can help the internet work better.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can go now, right?
Yes, you can go on.
All right. So I see
Maybe
the chance to go on a commercial. So we're good to go. We're going back now.
just hold on. You are connected. Okay.
We're good to go.
Yes, please do.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're listening to 91.3 Lagos Talks, and this is still The Office. We're speaking about the Japa syndrome, and we still have our esteemed guest this evening. She has been in the game for decades. She is Mrs. Ogochukwu Egbuonu, MCIPM, a distinguished leader as far as some human resource practice is concerned. We have her back, so let's just proceed with some of our questions. Madam, so we're speaking about some of the implications, and I would want to think that one major thing that would predispose one to thinking of leaving an organization for opportunities abroad is dissatisfaction, because you're looking for an opportunity to call it quits as far as your job is concerned. I'm wondering what the HR can do possibly to contain this, some of the causes that could predispose people to want to japa or leave the country for better opportunities. And also, how can organizations create a conducive work environments and implement retention strategies to prevent this whole japa thing from happening?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. In terms of what role HR can play in addressing these underlying causes, you look at it, if you come to an organization, it is primarily the responsibility of HR professional, the HR manager, whatever be the anchor, whoever that is leading the HR function there, to lead the talent management effort. So what the primary person that leads the talent management effort, and when we're talking about this talent management effort, what are the things you do to retain these talents, that when you bring them in, when you recruit them, when you attract them, what are the things you do to actually make them stay, to want to stay, to work and contribute to your organizational goal? So you must develop and implement talent management strategies that will align with organizational goals. First of all, look at it. What is your organizational philosophy when it comes to the issue of talent management? And when we talk about what is your philosophy, do you believe, for example, is your organization practicing, do they have the philosophy that, oh, we bring in people here and we value our employees? And so that will define whatever be the strategies or be the initiatives that you are going to, that the HR professional is also going to do what, to deploy in the organization. You also need to develop, you need to identify and develop talent pipelines. Look at your talents that you have. In organizations, what will matter to a Gen Z will not matter to a baby boomer. That thing that that sparks a baby boomer. For example, a baby boomer, people that are close to 50, 60 years old in the workplace, those ones are looking for long service award. For somebody that is 25 years old and have just joined the organization, long service award is not going to mean anything to that particular person, because that particular employee is actually not looking out to spend 15, 20, 30 years. They see it as, why will I sit down here? Why will I be serving one organization for 30 or for 20, 25 years? So the HR must understand, what are your employee value proposition? Is your employee value proposition that will make this employee want to stay with you? In other words, what are the things that make you stay? What are the things that make your organization stick well on the minds of your employees? You look out for them. Look at the things that matter to them. Okay. What are the things that matter to them? Flexible work time, does it matter to them? Is it going to be value to your employees? You look at it. All these are the things that will make the young ones, because virtually the people that we have that are actually japaing are people from the age of, maybe let me put them from 20, if you look at the age bracket, between 20 to 55. They're the ones. So what are the things? What are your employee value propositions? The things that will make these employees want to stay with you. And they're very simple things. You can look at what the training opportunities you have. You can look at work from home, flexible work hours. These are the things that matter to what? To employees. There are organizations that
just to quickly button because of our time. Whilst you help us with some more perspectives to that question, I also want to chip this into it. Are there government initiatives that HR professionals could leverage on? And in the case where remuneration is a problem, because a lot of people are looking for money, better paying jobs, and a lot of times you are competing with organizations internationally that are perhaps more established or have deeper pockets to pay such talents. In cases like that, how do HR professionals or even organizations maneuver through that situation? And also, are there government initiatives that HR professionals could leverage on to ensure that retention is sustained in organizations?
Yes, there are. Okay, for example, there are discussions ongoing now in terms of increasing the minimum wage. Once this particular minimum wage, these are government interventions, actually to ensure that people will stop jackpotting. But then the question becomes, is it going to still stop people from not jackpotting? No. But when we have this minimum wage come out, the new one that come out, it is imperative for every HR practitioner in organization to ensure that no employee in your workspace receive less than the stipulated what? Minimum wage. From that, it shows that you understand that the government that have put this minimum wage have actually considered the economic indices. Though we may say it's not up to what it's supposed to be, but then that should be a benchmark for us to look at, to leverage on it. Then there are, we have for trainings. Organizations can also leverage on trainings, on skills, trainings. We have the Industrial Training Fund, is a government intervention too, to ensure that organizations offer trainings to their organizations. And so what will ITF do for you? When you train your people at the end of the year, there's a form of a 50% reimbursement that comes in. So HR professionals should also leverage on such interventions. These are interventions that come from government. Then on the side of the government, I think there's need for them to actually increase on the investment we have in terms of increasing capacities about industries, opening up the economy more so that people can also feel good and know that by the time they come out, they graduate from universities, they have jobs. Then there should also be, HR should also offer competitive wages. When these are our talents, when they go outside there, we know the kind of wages that they receive. Let's look at it. So many organizations can benchmark it. So why do you wait for your people until when they get outside there for them to go and have it? So we can equally do the same. We can also advise our organizations, especially the ones that have the capacity to do this payment, to actually see that these are the things that they get outside there. We can do it here. and that will help us to retain our talents. Thank you.
Okay, so just a final question this evening. You're listening to 91.3 Lagos Talks. We've got our guest, Ogochukwu Egbuonu, MCIPM. We're speaking about this Japa situation and the role of the human resource professionals in organizations. And we've pushed a few questions through the program so far. But in what ways can human resource professionals or the department collaborate with perhaps other departments within their different respective organizations, to develop a comprehensive strategy or plan or blueprints that could ensure talent attraction, talent retention, development, and so on and so forth, just to curb this whole brain drain situation. Hello, are you there? Okay. I think the connection just went off right there. Anyway, but interesting talking points.
Just
She's trying
every
to
of the
okay,
supervisor,
she's back.
yes, and every
Oh,
executive you have to
okay.
provide support for this resources, for your resources, because when you bring in these talents, they don't work for you, the HR manager alone. They work for the supervisors and the managers. So it becomes a collaborative effort for everyone to work together. And so when you do understand that it's a collaborative effort, the first thing you have to look at is that what is your talent philosophy? You may need to redefine your talent management philosophy. Look at it critically. You can also look at what are the things you can amend as an organization in your employment contracts? Are your contract terms still reading the old format that it was before? Could people still have flexibility working from every location where they are? Could there be full remote that, especially for the multinational, that somebody that is in Nigeria could go over to somewhere like India to work and still the same organization and still earn from that particular location? You can also look at their things, consistent communication. There must be transparency and openness. These are ways HR can collaborate, the things you can do to ensure that the organization work together. And finally, let HR learn to co-create the retention strategies. Let the engagement be done with everyone, not the HR sitting on her desk alone to map it out. Let every member of the organization, let's co-create these particular retention and engagement strategies. And you find out that even when you do that, the employees will be highly involved and they will feel valued and they will want to, they will want to stay and contribute to the stability of the organization. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much indeed. We had a fantastic period, regardless of the very short time that we were managing on the program. I just want to say, are there other things that you can say for certain are beyond the control of the HR regarding the brain drain situation? Have you experienced cases where, oh well, we've done all we could do, possibly, but these are just, things beyond our control? Can you think of any situation of sort?
Sincerely, the issue of the brain drain is beyond the HR controls. I will put it there. It's beyond the HR. For an employee that has made up his or her mind that I don't see anything in this particular country that want to move away, no matter what be the retention or whatever be the talent management strategy, the retention that the HR or the organization put in place, that employee cannot stay. And especially where the employee is dissatisfied. So many of our people actually have lost hope in Nigeria. But I want to use this opportunity to say, please, there is still hope in Nigeria. And so what I will leave on this final note, that HR cannot do much if the leadership of Nigeria do not change. They are the first people. They are for the first people to give the reason to the employees to stay. And it is when they do this, when they believe and they know, they are convinced that they are the ones to give the people the reason to stay, people will stay in Nigeria.
Right.
And at the same time, thank you so much. I will stop on that.
All right, thank you very much indeed for being our guest this evening, and we look forward to having you come and discuss with us at a future time.
Thank you.
All right, that was Ogochukwu Egbuonu, MCIPM. Of course, it's been a fantastic period. The office is proudly brought to you by CIPM. That's the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria and Lagos Talks 91.3. Up next, Zeal is in the building for critical thinking. You're listening to Lagos Talks. This is 91.3. Keep it locked. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Although the internet was back and forth, but I think we were able to touch on most of it.
Sorry, upon all the support I got here, the internet was just, we were moving from one to the other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. Have a good evening, ma.
Same to you.
Madam Esther.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm sure you're like, what kind of wildlife is this?
As the internet, I don't really understand, but thank you. You really did a good job. Thank you for going on that break. You had to quickly rush to quickly get the internet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good evening. Have a good evening.
And you too. Bye.
Yeah.
At the heart of every lies the angles, the perspectives, and the different voices that make the headlines.